You're ready, bro.
Yeah, to have a nickname like Justice, that means something.
It does. Different things to different people, especially.
I'm nervous. Is that good? Sweet.
You're in your living room.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
You're in my living room.
Yeah.
Tell me your name again?
Kyle Hobson.
I'm Brad.
All right.
Nice
Nice
to
to
meet
meet you.
you.
Nice to meet you.
Sweet. How long have you been at Morehouse?
This is my second year. I'm a sophomore.
Okay.
Morehouse is cool.
Yeah?
My name is Cortland Mallory, but I'm better known by my nickname as Justice.
Justice. Word. And so, how long have you been on the Morehouse campus?
So I've been here since 2015.
Okay.
I'm a senior right now, business management major.
Word.
So about 3.5, going on 4 years.
Okay.
Jonesville Smith.
Okay.
I'm a junior. I'm a CTELS major, which is Cinema, Television, and Emerging Media Studies, basically film, from Decatur, Georgia.
Okay.
Yep.
Kind of take me more so in like that tradition, why it happens, and then why it's important.
Hump Wednesday, you need Hump Wednesday to get through the week because, okay, we got Monday. Monday's a drag. Tuesday's a drag. It's like, dang, man, I need something to just like lift my energy up, and Hump does that I swear they do, especially when it get warm. That's when it really gets going, and they start bringing artists out. Like I remember we had Lil Uzi here at Hunt Wednesday.
Okay.
We had G Herbo. We had a lot of like Young Nudie. Somebody just came. I forgot his name. Migos came. Like it's like we have artists coming every week to perform.
Yeah.
Like it's just like it reminds you of like where you're at. Like artists love to come to Morehouse. They love to come to HBCUs just because they want to get the experience too. So it's just like it's like a big turn up session, and then 5 to 7. After that, go back on with your day. You got a new burst of energy after that. You know what I'm saying? So they've been doing it since I don't even know how long they've been doing it, but it's definitely necessary. It's definitely necessary.
For sure.
Yeah.
I come from an area where it's kind of like the only experiences you get with black men are drug dealers, rappers, and basketball players. So for me, just a quick story, my first time stepping on Morehouse campus, I was a junior in high school. The only other figure that I saw other than that was my track coach. He went to FAMU. He brought us to Morehouse. And, you know, I'm thinking regular guy stuff. Oh, I don't want to be on the campus with all guys. But the campus was so cool. The energy was so cool. I ended up seeing a dude, and he walked past me in a suit. So I tapped the dude because I'm the first one to ask anybody questions. I tapped the dude. I said, yo, what you wearing a suit for? And he told me, I'm just going to class.
Okay.
And that moment right there, I was like, the only time I've seen people go in suits is if they getting married or if they getting buried. So for me to see a dude genuinely just want to wear a suit to go to class, I was like, this is different. I think right after that day, the day I got back from being at Morehouse, I bought myself a suit. And I told my mom, I said, Ma, I want to go to Morehouse. She was like, you sure? I said, look, I'm not going nowhere else but Morehouse. So that was it.
So I believe you only have to stay. I'm wrong. You have to stay on campus, I believe, for 3 years. So this was my year where I could stay off campus.
Okay.
I chose to stay on campus, actually. And everybody was like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
You know, because there's definitely better housing options in the area. But the community is so enriching. It's so powerful. Being around my brothers, and it's the most beautiful thing. I mean, I had a girlfriend at one time, and she kind of said, you know, why do you put up with this? Why do you live here? You know, it's not the greatest situation. I said, because my brothers make it better.
Yeah.
You know, I can go down the hallway and this brilliant young mind right here, he and I can just have a back and forth. You know, you have that access to a lot of people. I mean, there's more intrinsic, I suppose, benefits like anything going on campus, or if there's any events, even this, right? I have easy access to it because I live here. There's always that aspect. But when it boils down to it, it is that community vibe.
Yeah.
It is exactly what you've experienced being here. It feels like home. People are really here for you. They care about you.
Yeah.
We see each other as people, not as objects. And that's not necessarily a feeling that you get.
Yeah.
You know.
From my experience at Morehouse, limited experience, I think there's a statement that a Morehouse man.
Mm-hmm.
Is that real? Do people talk about it?
So they talk about it. So pretty much the way it is while you're in Morehouse and while you're matriculating through Morehouse, you're a man of Morehouse.
Okay.
It's when you graduate that you become a Morehouse man. So pretty much what the meaning of that is, Morehouse is flowed through you to turn you into a branch of Morehouse.
Wow.
So you are a Morehouse man once you graduate. I've seen people, even from my freshman year, come back that exemplify being a Morehouse man. And I'm just like, this is something I strive to be, something I want to be.
You will be.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go.
Most definitely.
That's awesome. What are some of the things that make a Morehouse man? Like some characteristics.
A Morehouse man is a Renaissance man. You can find Morehouse men anywhere, whether it be in the music industry, acting, law, wherever it is, you're gonna find a Morehouse man. I think also what makes a Morehouse man is the capability to be so versatile, but also still strive for the work that they want. A Morehouse man, if they don't see a path for them, they make it. And that's how I see myself. So,
wow.
Well, take me into the classroom a little bit. What do you really appreciating about the class? What do you really appreciate about just the environment of being
in the classroom?
Of course, the energy around campus is great. It's fam.
That's a good question.
Black culture is great, but inside the classroom, what are you loving?
So I have a lot of views about the classroom setting at Morehouse. I also take class. I take class at Spelman as well, but at Morehouse, it can be very challenging. A lot of professors like to really get inside your brain. They don't want us to just be men who, okay, you want to be a business dude, you want to be a business major, you want to be a film major, you want to do this, okay, cool, but you need to know your history. And a lot of teachers here really try to teach you your history. No matter if it's a math class, teachers are trying to make sure that you are woke, quote unquote, and that you know exactly where you came from, your past, where you're going. Just by every encounter that I've had with a teacher with a classroom setting has had that type of experience. And I tried to take classes outside of out of my major, so I can just have that kind of broad view. Or just different aspects of education.
What do you feel are some false narratives about HBCUs that maybe even you thought before coming here that you realized weren't true? Does that make sense what I'm asking?
Yeah. Definitely one of the big ones is that I shouldn't go to an HBCU because if I do, I'll be so extreme in the way that I view black culture that I won't be able to interact with any other races. That couldn't be further from the truth.
Okay.
I mean, one of the biggest things that HBCUs are good for is teaching you how, as a black person, you can succeed within your field as a black person. I think that's part of the myth that we need to dispel about a PWI being better than an HBCU. The education, the basic track is all the same. There's not really a big difference between the actual track. But the difference between an HBCU and a PWI is that an HBCU knows who they're talking to. They know who they serve. And they know the nuances involved with being in that community. So not only do I learn how to be a businessman, not only do I learn about regression analyses and all types of numbers and stuff, but I also learn how to act and how to treat myself and how to treat other people to succeed in life, essentially.
Word. Yeah. Man, that's good.
Were you always aware or always planning to go to an HBCU?
No. No. I'm glad you asked that. I love when people ask me that.
Yeah.
I had no intentions of going. I didn't even know what HBCU was.
Okay.
Before I came here. I mean, I knew my sister went to Clark Atlanta, but she never really forced HBCUs upon me. It was more so I was a basketball player, so I was trying to go to a D1 school. But yeah, I never thought about going to Morehouse. It wasn't until I was a senior in high school, and my parents, they was really putting it on me to at least look at Morehouse, because they kept getting emails from Morehouse trying to get me to come to the school and everything. And so I had came to, it's called Admitted Students Weekend, and it's just you get to stay over a night and get to have like the Morehouse experience as a high school student. And so I came and I just saw how different like campus was. It was just like black men in suits, black men who knew what they wanted to do in life, black men who talked like articulate. I wasn't used to that growing up.
Yeah.
So it was just new for me, and I decided to come here, man. It's the best decision I ever made.
Sometimes HBCU students, black students, and even like black men in America are misunderstood and misrepresented, especially like from a white community that has no exposure, no experience to the black community. If you've never stepped foot on an HBCU, if you've never been in a predominantly black neighborhood, you'd have assumptions, probably a lot of false assumptions. And so how would you want to rightly be represented?
All you need is a conversation. I think so many people devalue the ability of what a conversation can do for other people. So, for example, you may have had as many pre-thoughts about me as possible, but it took this conversation to break that wall down. Whether you wanted to have it or not, a conversation can build relationships. A conversation can create jobs. A conversation could create funding. The ability of what a conversation can do is monumental. And I think that's dying out. We did a service project in Chicago, and there was a school that we were going to. It was Robeson High School. We were servicing their last senior class because the state of Illinois just took over that school and was shutting it down. We came in, we spoke to these boys, and one thing that stuck with me is like one of the students legit stepped up and said, I wish that our staff and faculty would have had the same conversation with us that you guys did. If they did, our school would not be shutting down.
Wow.
And that's from a black man to another black man. So the ability for me to have a conversation with you, to have a conversation with her, to have a conversation with him, you never know where that can go. But it's that first step to actually have that conversation that then you can build off of.
That's revolutionary.
It's funny to think that something so simple can be so revolutionary,
simple,
but
right?
you got to think about it. We live in a generation where our conversation is on our phones. Personal interaction is a dying art, and it's sad to say we're so developed within technology and what's going on then that we can't sit down like this and have conversations unless forced. That's one thing I really appreciate about Morehouse is we could be sitting right over here. I've had some of my deepest conversations just walking through Morehouse.
Wow.
Whether it be about Black lives in America, whether it be about inclusion within the LGBT community. It's just sometimes a conversation is so monumental, and you just have to get to that point.
Yeah.
One of the biggest parts of being a Morehouse man is that you need to know how to operate in the lowest of situations and in the highest of situations. And so when I'm in low-income areas, I blend in. I blend in very well. And it almost feels like there's a sense of belonging almost. Like I'm not looked at in any sort of way, one way or another, unless I'm essentially overdressed or anything like that. But then when I go into a higher situation, or not even necessarily a higher situation, there's a big difference between the Walmart down the street and the Walmart up the street.
Yeah.
There's a big difference, when you go to the Walmart up the street, you're going to find those people who are looking at you and looking to see, and they look at you a different way. They look at you a different way. And I think you know what I mean, especially. It's just,
for sure.
it's like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
You know, do you have enough money to be here and all that? And so it turns into a little bit more of a, I don't even want to necessarily say a racial thing, but it definitely turns into a prejudice situation where I might not be welcome. You know, and so when I leave Morehouse, I know that I have a place here, but when I leave, I need to understand when I'm welcome, like if I'm in a lower income area where I look like the people there, or when I'm in a higher income one where I don't look like most of the people there, I have to know how to operate in those situations, and some of the things that some of the consequences, I should say, of being there.
with our generation, do you think there's any solutions to situations like that we can bring, like, as the people, to the forefront of, like, changing the dynamic of how a person feels when they walk from this Walmart or shop at the Walmart down the street versus the Walmart up the street, like.
Right. I believe in impacting people. Mm-hmm. That's a big thing. Just speaking with somebody, especially somebody who might make a sour face at you initially, just to get them to understand that you're a person, that you are intelligent, that you have hopes, dreams, a family. Mm-hmm. Those things, I mean, it almost makes people feel bad when they wanted to demonize you. You know what I mean? Because after that conversation, they walk away feeling like, I was a pretty nice guy.
Yeah.
And, you know, initially they didn't want to think that was a nice guy. They wanted to think that was some sort of hoodlum or some sort of thug. But, no, that's not even usually the case, you know.
Yeah.
As far as impacting people, we've got to do our parts to bridge the gap. Because a lot of prejudice stems from not understanding one another. Maybe I don't understand you and maybe you don't understand me, but if we never talk to one another, we're only going to hold on to those beliefs.
Very true. Yeah. But nah, man, I've just been learning, like you were just saying, actually. That's why I kept, like, nodding in agreement. It's just, like, you never know until you take the leap of faith to, like, talk to somebody. You just don't know what's going on, like, in their life, where they're from, like, their story, and just, like, the importance of our stories, like, and that you don't gotta be a celebrity for it to be important. You know what I'm saying? You don't gotta be someone who makes millions of dollars for your story to all of a sudden now it's important. We want to hear it. It's just like there's so many gems around us, like even just the people in your community, and just learning about community, like how important it is. That whole saying, it takes a village to raise a child, like it's not just a saying, it's like reality. Like you need people around to help.
I think our generation is entitled. A lot has been handed to us.
What do you mean entitled?
So, for example, my mom had to work through college to get her first car, which was a hoopty. It was a minivan. It was something small.
Okay.
But it's the fact that she was able to work for it to get it. Mm-hmm. I knew a dude in high school. He was failing all his classes, barely went to class, and had a brand new BMW. And I got mad one day because it was like, I worked all day, all night. I'm working hard. I'm doing good in school. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. And he gets stuff handed to him. But then I look back in perspective. Now, that's high school me talking. I look back in perspective. Now, I'm in my second year of college. I'm getting internship opportunities. I'm getting the opportunity to travel the country, travel the world.
Yeah.
And that same dude is in the same place with that same BMW that was handed to him. This generation, or our generation, is so entitled. We expect everything to just be given to us, and we lose the ability to work for what we want. We lose that drive to push and push and push to then get something and be like, wow, I got it. To whereas everything is handed to you, and then when given the opportunity where you need to work for something, it's like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this. The work ethic that was once had within this world is dying out because everything is being handed to us.
Wow.
Martin Luther King, he died for what he worked for. Like, and that's the ultimate. Like, you can't get that back. Nobody could give you your life back, but he died for us to have moments like this. And that's all because he had the drive, the work ethic. It wasn't handed to him. He woke up every morning with death threats on his phone. But he was like, at the end of the day, what I'm working for is something that I want to see that's not present.
What do you want to see that's not present?
Ooh, Lord.
It could be in any category.
One thing that I'm very passionate about is the arts. I'm a very artistic person. I'm a poet. I play 7 different instruments. I sing. And this is just something.
Seven different instruments.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Yeah, man. The arts is a dying factor within schools, within HBCUs. So I need I need the arts to be more appreciated.
Yeah. Do you have any strategy between now your sophomore year and your senior year to see that happen here?
So one thing that I want to work on and I'm trying to push towards is not necessarily a scholarship fund, but the ability for students in inner cities who don't have funds to learn or hone in on their artistic craft to be able to learn or hone in on that craft as long as they keep a 3.0 GPA and have a minimum of 20 community service hours a month.
Wow.
So I'm working on that. I know a bunch of people within New York, because I'm from New York. So I know a bunch of people from New York, from Chicago, from Florida, who would have no problem teaching. And they pretty much just want to see students develop. So why not have them develop but teach them at the same time? Teach them to hold their grades up. Teach them to give back to the community in which they live in. So that's pretty much what I'm working towards, what I'm working on right now.
That's incredible.
HBCUs are not like regular schools, PWIs, I could sort of say. We don't always have the best funding, so sometimes you really do have to fend for yourself. You know, especially Morehouse, we're a private institution, so we have to fund ourselves. So like maybe printing in the resource center might not be working, and you have to figure out another way to print out your homework, or the caf might not have enough food late at night, so they might close early. Like certain things like that is just what's it called? Registering for your classes it's a drag sometimes. But at the end of the day, it definitely builds character. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's kind of like the real world. Like you really on your own out here sometimes, so you really just gotta like make a way. But it teaches maturity. It teaches you how to grow up and not have somebody always doing something for you. Sure. But you gotta like really make it on your own sometimes. But you know it's annoying sometimes. But at the end of the day, it's like okay, like I'm a product of HBCU. Like I made it out, and I want to get back to my HBCU. Like this, me living in maybe not the best dorms. It makes me want to give back when I do have like the capability to do so.
Somebody gave you check $5 million to invest at like this specific school. What programs, what part of the school are you investing in?
Film program. We don't have, okay, listen. Business program probably has the most funding, so they're good. Yeah. They're good. What else? Health and sciences, they're pretty good. Film, we need more equipment, and we need more exposure, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm in the C-10 program. It's very new. Spike Lee helped start it about like 4 or 5 years ago, so it's still fairly new. But like, there's so many creators on campus, like who are photographers, who are filmmakers, but they don't have the necessary tools in order to be as successful as they could be. And just to like be able to like really travel across the world in film, like see, like it's so much potential that like film can have here, and a lot of companies and a lot of studios come here to film on our campus. So it's just like it's only right, you know, to do right by the students who go here who are interested in film. You know what I'm saying? So definitely film. I'm biased too because that's my major.
So with your major, what are some goals or maybe even some plans after school that you're looking towards or hoping to execute?
For sure. So I was pretty unsure about what I wanted to do. In my sophomore year here, I actually created an app called the Work app, meant to help college students find jobs.
Word.
Yeah, and so the goal with that was to get acquired. Didn't quite work out that way, but it definitely sprung itself into a bunch of other opportunities that led me to the world's largest information technology company. Okay. I worked there last summer. That was an amazing and enriching experience down in South Florida. Whew, Florida is so beautiful. Yeah. During the summer, oh my goodness, it's so beautiful. But during that time, I actually came into an opportunity to participate in a case study for the insurance industry. And at that point, and after some conversations and a sponsorship that I was fortunate enough to get this past winter, I got a license as a property and casualty adjuster and as a life agent. Okay. So moving forward after graduation, I'm going to set up a solid financial foundation for myself within the insurance industry by leveraging those licenses.
Okay.
Real estate's definitely next up.
Yeah. Nah, that's really cool, man. Yeah, I just think it's so dope that, it's just refreshing to see brothers with goals and other black males who desire to, like, not only do something with their life but inspire others as they go. So even just listening to the fact that you survived Katrina just like makes me think about like purpose and being here for a reason.
That was amazing.
That was so
oh my
powerful.
gosh. We would be friends forever.
I don't know, just something about Atlanta, something about Morehouse.
Man, it's the place to be. It's the place to be. Yeah. Sure. Definitely come back. For sure. Definitely come back.
All right.
Appreciate you both, man.
Yeah. Thanks for coming, bro.